Well, right now, a U.S. Senate committee is considering new legislation that would provide special health care to soldiers exposed to hazardous chemicals. And that is a direct result of the fight being waged by National Guard troops from southern Indiana against a huge private military contractor. They believe their exposure was covered up. Many have joined forces to get some answers about their toxic tour of duty. Tell City, Indiana, the small-town Perry County seat where support for American troops is obvious, and many a man here has served.
I enjoy being in the military, or wouldn't have stayed and retired.
Clinton Hammock re-enlisted while he was in Iraq, and while there he had this portrait made of him and his wife who was waiting back home.
The military gave me a lot of opportunities that I would have never got in just a regular life, you know.
Lucas Whistle has permanent reminders of his military days. Tattooed on his chest are the initials U.S. and the symbol for an infantry soldier. 3-month-old Tyclin is named after Lucas's best Army buddy.
Fix this part before it gets there.
Russ Kimberling, newly remarried and the father of 2, was their captain in Iraq.
It's a pretty dirty environment.
Kimberling, Hammock, and Whistle, Indiana National Guardsmen, members of the 152nd Infantry Division, Charlie Company. They were sent to Iraq in 2003 and assigned to Task Force Rio, restore Iraqi oil.
Basically, you could say we was like their bodyguards.
Bodyguards for American contractors paid to get the oil flowing again.
Make sure that I'm looking out over the horizon, make sure there ain't nobody up there on the roof starting to shoot.
The contractor, KBR, then owned by Halliburton, headquartered in Houston, Texas. Every day, the soldiers rode out in these nondescript vehicles, white pickups and SUVs, with the KBR contractors. They traveled to the oil sites, likely sabotaged by Iraqis just before the invasion by coalition forces. One of their work sites was a water injection treatment plant in Karmat Ali near Basra. The water used to force the oil out of the ground. Now, these 3 former National Guard members and 48 others have filed a federal lawsuit against KBR. They believe it wasn't what was on the horizon that put them in the most danger. It was what was on the ground.
Orangish red, reddish orange, I would say. And it was all over the ground, saturated. You know, the ground.
It was kind of an orange-yellow color.
But there was ripped open bags just strewn all over the site.
A lot of the stuff that we seen over there, you know, looked odd.
The soldiers would work in it all day, eat in it, eat their food. The wind could be blowing the food, you know, onto their food. Then they would take it back to their sleeping quarters because it was all over their uniforms, all over their boots. So they really never got away from it.
You see it here in this military document, a yellow coating on the sand. 6 years later, the soldiers know its name, sodium dichromate, its toxic component, chromium hexavalent, the same chemical. At the center of the movie, Aaron Brockovich.
Hexavalent chromium, which, depending on the amounts, can be very harmful.
And then everybody kept saying about the movie, you know, and it was like, we was exposed to that.
Mike Doyle is the lead attorney for the Guard members who have filed suit against KBR, claiming the company knew about the toxic chemical at the Karmat Ali site and failed to warn the soldiers.
They were getting these nosebleeds, rashes, trouble, difficulty breathing.
I didn't have any issues until I hit that site. When I hit the site, then, you know, I started having some sinus problems, some headaches, bloody noses, and then I got a perforation in the left nostril of my nose. And when the ENT, you know, he was looking in my nostril, hit the light, and you could see it through the outside of the nose.
I get nosebleeds, and usually when I get them, they're pretty bad. You know, it's bad enough to where the towels and the clothes I'm wearing, we just have to throw them away.
Lucas also has mysterious rashes on his nose and congestion.
When I lay in there in bed at night and I get to coughing, and then I can't breathe.
And I do worry about it, and I worry about what's going to happen later on.
They believe they know what might be in store. Dave Moore from Du Bois County, the 42-year-old father of a little girl, has died from an inflammatory lung disease. Lieutenant Colonel Jim Gentry, here in Iraq in 2003, is now 52 and dying from lung cancer.
We should have been informed.
Last year, he gave this deposition for the federal lawsuit. Gentry says he was among the first to alert his commanders to the chemical exposure.
I'm dying now because of it.
Well, Jim Gentry, you just saw there, recently underwent radiation treatments in an Indianapolis hospital. The cancer has spread to his bones. As for KBR, the company strongly denies any of these claims, and I will tell you specifically what KBR has to say about this lawsuit tonight at 6 o'clock. Plus, the guardsmen say they've recently obtained a document that proves their side of the story. It's all tonight at 6. Doug?